when we look at a piece of music, we have to kind of find some way to communicate, or a composer has to find some way to communicate how long or how short certain notes need to be held, you know. Some notes need to be really fast, like da 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 da. Some need to be really long, like da da, sort of like that. We have to find some way to sort of communicate that. And the way we do that is with something we call beats. So, or perhaps like the tempo. Okay. So beats are just a way of sort of counting out how long to hold a particular note. You can think of beats as kind of like seconds in a minute, you know? They're not exactly the same because beats can go kind of faster or slower depending on the song. Seconds only go kind of a certain speed. You know, you can fit 60 of them in a minute and then you move on. So, but beats are you got to think of beats as sort of measurements of time. They're sort of how long something goes for, okay? We're talking about time. There's one of the biggest notes that we use is something we call a whole note. And a whole note, here, I'll write that out here. A whole note is worth 4 beats. Right? So a whole note is worth 4 beats. What that means is that if I have a song that's kind of maybe this speed, if this is how fast my beat's going in the song, if I were to play that note and hold it down on a piano, it would go like da, like that, 4 beats, right? So, or again, if this is my beat, 3, 4, go da, like that, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 beats, okay? These kinds of notes down here are called half notes. They are shorter. In fact, they're half as big as the whole notes. They're worth 2 beats, okay? Now I want you to notice here, I wrote 1 whole note. Here, though, I wrote 2 half notes, and I did that because I want to communicate the fact that in the time it takes me to play one of these, I could stuff 2 of these notes into a certain space, okay? So if this is my speed, I'd go like da, da, right? 1, 2, 1, 2. Again, these ones are longer, right? If this is my speed, this would go for like 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd hold that note down on a piano, ba, like that. Okay. So this is a whole note. It's 4 beats. These are half notes. They're 2 beats. Then when I go down from there, I get to quarter notes. Okay. Quarter notes. Now here I wrote 4 of them. Again, just to communicate the fact that I can stuff 4 of these notes in, they're so fast that I can stuff 4 of these notes in the same amount of time it would take to play one of these. Each of them is only 1 beat each. Okay. So if, again, here's my beat. If this is my speed, I would go da, 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 like that. Okay, they're a little faster. So bringing this together, again, if this is my beat, this would go da, 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 da. So see how these are twice as fast as this. These are twice as fast as this. So they kind of keep getting quicker, right? Now those are 1 beat. Down from there I get into eighth notes. Now this is where it gets a little bit confusing right here, because whenever we write an eighth note next to another eighth note, which is what I'm doing, we typically bar it on the top. Sometimes we bar just 2 of them. Sometimes you might even see like a whole bunch of them barred together. But you got to keep in mind that what matters is how many dots you have, right? So what I wrote out here are 8 eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 of them here. We just happen to tie them together at the top. It's weird, but that's just how we do it. Each of these notes is worth half a beat. And again, we call them eighth notes. Okay? So eighth notes. Now, if I saw an eighth note just by itself, just kind of on its own, not next to another buddy, I would see it written like this. It kind of looks like a quarter note, but with sort of a little flag right there. That would be an eighth note written by itself. Okay, but whenever it's next to another eighth note, we kind of tie it together. You got to pretend like this is kind of like a ribbon, and then when you clip it, it's sort of just flailing in the wind. Okay, but this is an eighth note just like this is. Okay, they're the same kind of note. We just write them differently sometimes. All right. So these are eighth notes. Now let's say here's my beat again. One of these notes is worth half a beat, so I could stuff two of these notes into one beat. So remember how these ones were? If my beat's like this is going da 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 da. Well, here's my beat. This is how eighth notes would go. Da 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 da, like that. So again, bringing it all together. Here's my beat. This would go da 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 da, like that. So these are kind of quicker. Now if we go even lower than that, now this is about as low as we're going to go for the purposes of this video. We get into something even smaller, and we call these 16th notes. Now I'm gonna tie 4 of them together right here. See that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Forgive me, these are not written phenomenally well, but those are 4 16th notes, 4 16th notes, 4 16th notes, like that. Okay. Now keep in mind, again, just because I'm borrowing this, that doesn't mean that this is one note right here. These are actually 4 separate notes. You got to look at the dots, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so there are 16 16th notes that I just wrote here. Okay, 16th notes. Okay, and they are worth a quarter of a beat. So what that means is, whereas this is only worth 1 beat, you could stuff 2 of these into 1 beat. You could stuff 4 of these into 1 beat because they're just that fast. They're really quick. So here's my beat. If I were to play all of this on the bottom here, and this was how fast I was going, it would be da 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 da, like that. Okay, so those are 16th notes. They're like eighth notes in the sense that you bar them, but they have 2 bars, not just 1. And if you saw a 16th note by itself, it would look like this, like a quarter note, but with 2 flags, sort of like right there. Again, it's like this is a ribbon, and you're snipping it, and they're just in the wind there. Okay. So let me go through all of this. All right. Here's my beat. So if I were to kind of go from here all the way down to the bottom, it would be kind of like this. Da 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 da. Like that. So these are pretty darn quick. Okay. Now where a lot of students get confused as far as how these fit into measures and with time signatures and stuff is when we start getting into fractions like this. For the purposes of my particular class, all you got to do is keep this in mind mostly. Okay. Quarter note is 1 beat, which means that you could stuff 2 eighth notes into 1 beat, which means that you could stuff 4 16th notes into 1 beat. Okay, sorry, goofy looking 16th notes. Okay, so this is 1 beat. You could stuff 2 of these into 1 beat. You could stuff 4 of these into 1 beat, like that. Okay. So anyway, hope that helps.